Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Mother, hold our hand, take us across from unreal to real, from ignorance to wisdom of light, from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Mother, hold our hand and speak through us, and hold our hand and listen as devotees, as speaker through us, so that we understand the most complicated of the reality of the world and not be confused by the Maya. May I and the devotees all take up this journey to wonderful understanding of the supreme knowledge of Vedanta. So dear devotees, today onwards we're going to start on Vedanta in separate parts. What is Vedanta? We all would love to know that. Everybody's talking about Vedanta. You know, today in India, Vedanta, you will hear it, almost everybody wants to know. Unfortunately, most of our Indians, because of our education system, which got westernized from 16th century, we have not been introduced to Vedanta. Why Vedanta? See, the basic introduction is you and I are very body and the mind, the name, conscious. The moment I say Robbin Ghosh, all you think about is body, a man or a woman, age, the role that I play in the family and the role that I play outside in the world, and complexion of the skin, of the hair and the face, and that is it. So we have got encased onto this called Sthula Sharira, which is called Annamaya Kosha. Annamaya Kosha is because of the food and the drinks that we do, which makes our body. There was a lady who used to join the Vedanta ashram, a Hollywood film actress. She was very pretty. So in the Vedanta ashram, one of the lady asked her one day, "You look so pretty. What is the secret of your beauty?" And this Hollywood actress, Italian lady, she said, "Secret of my success is pasta." Meaning basically what? It is the food that we eat is what makes the body. And we have covered Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha. Kosha is sheath, like this cloth, this dress that I'm wearing is a sheath. Then Manamaya Kosha, then Jnanamaya Kosha, and like that Kosha, we have 5 sheaths like that. But inside of that is who we are. And this is what is the journey of the Vedanta. So, you will find often in billboards, in hoardings, heaven is a place. That means, just think, dear devotees, dear sirs and ma'am, and the very enlightened people of the world, just think, it means it is not here, it is there. It is somewhere else. And somewhere else, another hoarding you will find, you will see God after death. It is time bound. In the heaven is a place bound. And after death, after you have a Messiah, you have a great saint coming and meeting you in our life, then you will see God. After. It's a time. And Vedanta, goes ahead and tells you that is not the truth. If God exists, why can't I see God? This is what Swami Vivekananda said. That if God really exists, why can't I see Him? Why can't I talk to Him? And if God exists, Vedanta says, why can't we see God here, right in this? Why can't we see God in that glass of water? So with that, let's take on what is Vedanta and why do we require Vedanta? So see, what has happened is our journey today, remember in our last talk we talked about all life forms. The earth, worm, the bees, the grasshoppers, the apple tree, the coconut tree, the tiger, the elephant, all life form is working at its tremendous effort to reach its maximum potential. And that maximum potential is with the body. They are using that secret power from within, which is called Turiya in Mandakya Upanishad, consciousness in English, or Chetana, awareness. They are using it. Human beings are also using. Animals, plants, the worms, the insects, they have a beginning and they have an end on my last week's talk. That is birth to death. But you and I, we have a beginning, birth, but there is no death. You would say, remember what I said last week, that means we are not going to die? No. What dies is the body. That is not my death. I say, come on. That is what is my death. That is the problem why the Vedanta has come in. So what is the reason for you to know the Vedanta and what will happen? Sarvang Kama. Whatever comes to your mind in your heart as a desire, once you know Vedanta, would be fulfilled to you. And the stress, which is everybody is getting, you will get out of that stress. How will it happen? Just think. A tiger doesn't have to work very hard to be a good tiger. An apple tree, if you go under the ground and study their roots, tremendous work is going on under the ground which you can't see for the apple tree to produce those beautiful apples. So there is tremendous work going on, but human beings are the only one who nature, God, divine mother of the universe, has not kept limited to birth to death. Why? Because if we are blocked up, we do not like it. We get bored. So what has mother done? What has nature done? Has left no top. Meaning, human beings have infinite potential. Potential, possibility. Meaning what? Just think. Tiger cannot become elephant. An apple tree can't produce mangoes or coconut or jackfruit. Cannot in the same breed. But human being, you and I can take up the journey to become like Vivekananda, Buddha, Mahavir Jain, Guru Nanak or Jesus Christ. We can make the effort. Maybe we will never reach there, but we will reach far ahead and very close to them. That is the journey called spiritual journey. And this is what is exactly in chapter 17. Krishna is saying that once you reach that state, you will go beyond all suffering. No suffering. Can you imagine? So now understand, this is why the Veda is, it comes from the word Vid, meaning knowledge. And Vedanta, meaning Anta is the end of all knowledge. And Veda is the knowledge. Actually, it doesn't mean end of all knowledge. It means Siddhanta. Siddhanta meaning the final conclusion of the knowledge. Veda, Vid is the knowledge. final conclusion of the knowledge is Vedanta. And you know, Swami Vivekananda in Harvard University in 1895, he gave a talk and he said, Vedanta is described as the core philosophy underlying all sects of Hinduism, encapsulating its diverse beliefs and practices. Have you realized Hindus have diverse beliefs and practices? Hinduism. And it encompasses everything by the Vedanta. And if you look carefully, if you go down, behind the rituals and the temples and the deities, behind the meaning, you will find always a branch of Vedanta. Let's say Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. You know the ISKCON. Did you know it is from a branch of Vedanta? It is called Achintya Veda Vedi Vedanta. It comes from Gauriya Vaishnavas, started off by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from Orissa, a Bengali. And in his last days, nobody knows where he died. He was walking on the seashore, his footprints were there, and then he vanished. That kind of a richness came from this Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So, this International Society of Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, originates from Achintya Bhedavedi Vedanta. You know, this notable rise in the construction of the grand temples all around the world. There's one beautiful series of temple coming up. It's called Swaminarayan Temple. I don't know if you've ever seen them. The Swaminarayan Temple are also from philosophical tradition of Ramanujam's Vedanta, and it is called Vishishta Advaita Vedanta. And do you know something? They have now started off by studying more and more scripture, their own Vedanta. As of now, nothing noted as yet. Now, these Vedanta societies are rooted in Advaita Vedanta. That is the Vedanta Society of all over the world, in the American, which is followed by, it is actually undertaken by the monks and the lady monks of Ramakrishna Mission and Sharda Math. Now, Vedanta is a fundamental aspect of the Hinduism, thousands of years old. And each sect, if you look carefully, whether ISKCON or Swaminarayan or Shaivites or Krishna and any type of Hinduism, Shaktas or the Mayas, you will find them, there is an aspect of Vedanta. So, you see, the scholars of Nyaya school was, they're called Nyayika. And if you ask a Nyayika, do you follow Nyayaka? He said, no, I am a Vaishnava. I am from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was a great Nyayaka, meaning the logics of Hinduism. The logics of Hinduism is far, far, far greater logics. It'll make your head go round and round. Nothing compared to the, you know, to this Nyayaka would be our Western logics. Western logic is far below. Now, Vedanta is the core philosophy of Hinduism, various school flavors, and the schools of philosophy in Hinduism otherwise are Nyaya, there are Vaisheshika, there is Sankhya philosophy, there is Yoga, there is Purva Mimamsa, there is Vedanta, like that. It continues. And Indian philosophy, there are textbooks. So remember, there is Nyaya, there is Visheshika, there is Sankhya, there is Yoga is Patanjali Yoga, there is Purva Mimamsa, and there is Vedanta. In Vedanta, also there are branches. Now, if you look at a textbook of Indian philosophy, you will find these several chapters on this Vedanta itself. There is a book by Houston Smith on world religion. I happen to be lucky to get that book. Do you know the first chapter of that is on Hinduism and talking about Vedanta? And he's no more, but his books are today read all over the world in all philosophy sections. Now, if you ask any Hindus what particular background of your tradition of Hinduism, you will find some school of Vedanta on that. The, they are more academic than practical. So you understood Veda and the Anta. And do you know something? The there is somebody called Arindam Chakrabarti. He's a philosopher, the Bengali from Indian, and he is teaching in Stony Brook near New York, Stony Brook University, and he gave another meaning. He is from Nyaya, a great scholar, Arindam Chakrabarti, very famous. And he gave a meaning of Vedanta. Anta, he said, is not Siddhanta, just the final conclusions of the Veda. He said it is the cutting edge like a sword, like a knife. What is it cutting? It cuts through yours and my ignorance that I am this body and the name and the form and a gender, man or a woman, and this is my age. This is not who we are. And that's the journey of for you and me is to take us across to somewhere which is far, far ahead and take you and I through that journey where we reach in this life alone. And we are praying to Mother, Asato Ma Satkama, take us from unreal to real, meaning this body complex feeling to actually take us across to that supreme realization. What is realization? Is knowingness. Knowing what? I'm not limited to this body. So, now let us ask once again, what is Vedanta? You know, there is a spiritual text, and this is called Vedanta Sara. In Vedanta Sara, the definition of Vedanta is given Vedanta Nama Upanishad Pramana, meaning Vedanta is Upanishad. Upanishads are texts therein Vedas. Mostly it is towards the end of it, like a final conclusion of that Veda. Sometimes it is in between also. Now, this source of spiritual knowledge in text, secondary meaning is of the Upanishad, is the spiritual knowledge of the text in the secondary meaning is in the text scripture itself. But the primary meaning of the Upanishad is the true essence of the spiritual knowledge. So, you and I, because of the Western influence, got stuck only with our body and enjoyment and pleasure. But have you realized that if you are unconscious, you can't hear me, see me? If I am in lying in coma, I cannot see the whole world, can't hear anything, anyone. If you are deep sleep, you cannot see anything. In other words, if you're disconnected, you meaning your senses, your five senses, eyes, ears, nose, throat, etc. If it is disconnected from something, you cannot see the world. I can see some of you Vedantis who have been for some time. Yes, it is the consciousness. The consciousness, it is that is truly you and I. And the Advaita Vedanta goes ahead and teaches us how to get connected to that consciousness. Now, if you have studied Upanishad, you will find one of the very famous texts of Hinduism is Bhagavad Gita, and which is All over the world, everybody knows it's the text of Hinduism. Advaita Vedanta or Vedanta is a spiritual knowledge. Hinduism is based on those spiritual knowledge. But Advaita Vedanta is also talking about, Paramahamsa Ramakrishna says, Sthapakaya dharmasya sarva dharmanne samapana. Meaning, all religion is established by him as one religion. All religion takes you to eventually to the same one God. Did you know that Krishna and Bhagavad Gita, this is not known to most people. If you have studied Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita intensely, you will realize that almost every part of the Bhagavad Gita is from Upanishad. Some of the places it is basically essence of the teachings of the Upanishad, an exact quote of the Upanishad line. It is considered as a canonical text of the Vedanta, part of the as Bhagavad Gita. Canonical text, like a canon, that text of the Vedanta. Now, Vedanta comprises of the teachings of three books. Upanishads. Upanishad is not one. There are 108 of them. And generally 10 Upanishads, which Shankaracharya has studied them and has written his Bhashya and Karika on them. So those 10 have become the main Upanishads today among 108. And generally everybody studies those 10. Maybe one more, 11. And that 11th one is Shvetaswara Upanishad. And these Upanishads is Ishakena, that Prashna Katha, like that. There's a nice rhyme. I'll share it with you some other time. So basically, these three texts are Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, and one more, which is not very commonly known, written by Rishi Vyasa. You remember Guru Purnima, Rishi Vyasa's birthday? That Rishi Vyasa had written this, and it's called Brahma Sutra. Now, when you read Upanishad, Upanishad is like gives you mystical insight, like miracles, like you see God. Paramahamsa Ramakrishna is to experience God. That's mystical. Jesus Christ is to experience God, mystical experiences. Oh, notice others are not seeing it. When Ramakrishna is talking to Mother Kali or talking and seeing her, others can't see. So others won't believe. In Ramakrishna's case, they believe because they could see him so transformed when he used to be live in Samadhi state. Now, these mystical insights of the Upanishad, Brahma Sutra provides logical framework to address the philosophical inquiries, to inquire onto it, no, philosophically. And it gives you actually the framework by philosophical inquiry is giving you mystical insight, gives you an understanding logically. So it becomes simple for you and me. Now, focusing on the non-dual nature of the existence is the Advaita Vedanta, which was given by Shankaracharya. Now, the spiritual understanding is not a journey from a place to place. Generally, journeys from one place to another. Or it is not a journey from one time to another time. It is the journey from ignorance to wisdom. This is the basic journey of this. Now, these three are called the Prasthanatraya. Remember the name. Upanishad, Brahma Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita, called Prasthanatraya. Three. That is why it is called the tribe. And now, if you have understood this Upanishads, they have another name. They call Shruti Prasthana. Prasthana Traya, three. I going intentionally slowly, because otherwise generally most people will find it too much of text. Shruti Prasthana is because the rishis never wrote down. They used to talk and people would just listen. And this is how Shruti is Prasthana, is called the Upanishad. Now Bhagavad Gita is from Mahabharata. It is called Smriti Prasthana. And the Brahma Sutra is called Nyaya Prasthana, logical. Smriti is from memory, Bhagavad Gita. And there's various schools, foundations of Vedanta. So now these Brahma Sutras, from studying from them, the various great masters, great spiritual leaders have given their commentary. And those commentaries form different kind of schools. So Shankaracharya's explanation of Brahma Sutra created Advaita Vedanta, which you and I are taking the main journey. Though we believe in all the Vedantas, all the yogas, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raja Yoga and Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is primarily Advaita Vedanta. But Advaita Vedanta does not do away with the other three. It also contains all of them. Shankaracharya's explanation of Brahma Sutra is Advaita Vedanta. And Ramanuja's commentary on the foundations of Sri Bhashya is called qualified monism, which is called of the same Brahma Sutra, Ramanujam, about 300 years after Shankaracharya is about 1400 years before. Ramanuja is about 1100 years ago. And that is called Sri Bhashya, qualified monism, and it's called Vishishta Advaita Vedanta. Vishishta Advaita Vedanta by Ramanujam of his explanation on Brahma Sutra. And I'll give you three more names for today's, and we'll continue more on Sunday. Madhava, his commentary on the Brahma Sutra is called dualistic Vedanta. Advaita Vedanta is only one. Dualistic is two. So, dualistic Vedanta called Dvaita Vedanta. That is Madhava. And Nimbalkar's commentary on the foundation of Brahma Sutra is called Dvaita Advaita Vedanta. Dvaita and Advaita Vedanta. And Vallava's commentary on the foundation of from Brahma Sutra is called the Shuddha Advaita Vedanta. Shuddha Advaita Vedanta. So now, these are quite a bit of messages, simple. You'll have this in the YouTube. Remember, these different schools of Vedanta are nothing else but the commentaries based on Brahma Sutra. So now that is another answer you get of what is Vedanta. So here will be Vedanta is the Upanishad, is the Brahma Sutra, is the Bhagavad Gita, and the commentary tradition. So that is the textual foundation of Vedanta. Are you liking it or is it boring? You know, Swami Tapasanandaji, a great Ramakrishna mission, he says that other than Advaita Vedanta, the other, from Ramanujam, Madhavas, Ballavas, Nimbarkar, theirs is called Bhakti schools of Vedanta. He calls them Bhakti schools because basically that is Vishishta Advaita, Dvaita Advaita, Shuddha Advaita. These are not very difficult to understand in principle because each is a glorious tradition with detailed scriptures and wonderful traditions of worship and spiritual practices. And these are not far away from the Abraham religion, like Islam, like Judaism, like Christianity. And they're all devotional schools. So God exists and we have faith in God and we surrender to God, we love God and worship God. That is the bhakti school. And we have to lead moral and ethical life and lives of devotion to Lord. And by the Lord's grace, we will get out of this life and be rescued from samsara, from suffering and from death. And the last sentence, but Advaita Vedanta is not that. Advaita Vedanta says the moment you put your new a name and a form and a function, the moment you put Robbin Ghosh, you created samsara. Because the moment you say, I'm Robbin Ghosh, I'm separate from you. Separation. Whereas, remember the punchline of Mandakya Upanishad. All of us have one existence and one consciousness. And this is why we do not throw away the duality, and it is oneness. Just imagine if you feel one with your wife and husband, absolutely, or children and parents. Can you imagine how can you ever have disagreement? Isn't it? Jai Guru.